But anyway, anyway,
Anyway,
guys, let's
anyway,
focus here. Glyph.
yeah, let's focus. Glyph. Sorry, recording listeners. Glyph is the new chapter. It's on Fraxtal. Check it out. I'll link all the things you need in the recording video. And it's time to take over Fraxtal lending market. So check that out and join the Discord and follow the Twitter and all the extra stuff.
Yeah. So what are some of the most exciting things about Glyph at this moment, though, guys? Fractal points, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the system is soaking up Fractal points, and then Glyph will. We have this like it's like a boilerplate points program that we can layer on top of Glyph, and also Eidolon is working on some pretty niche reliquary tech to help Glyph users soak up even more Fractal points using our new reliquary contract that has completed its audit process. So yeah, you can expect that Glyph will be it is auto leveling, and Glyph will be the most efficient way to soak up Fractal points on the entire chain.
Bullish.
Now that's hot.
Bullish.
Now that's hot, fellas. Also extremely safe, if I'm not mistaken. We got some integrated redstone oracles, if you're into that nerd stuff, right?
Correct, yes. Redstone oracles, API 3 backups, lots of good stuff.
Fractal points for what? Eigenlayer? No. So Fractal points. Okay, so Fractal has an interesting incentive mechanism that they are employing. So it's called Flocks, and essentially it is an algorithmically driven alignment between protocols that are getting the most use and the chain itself. So they're sort of like the funding and the sort of the I guess you could call it the grants or the continuous funding that protocols are getting are directly related to how much they're getting used. So they have this contract, it's called Flocks, and they are tracking activity across the chain, and then incentives are being distributed to those protocols that are getting the most use. So anytime you're using Glyph, we're racking up Flocks points called Fraxtal, I think. Fraxtal points. So yeah, that's how that works. It's a pretty cool system.
Yeah, it's it'll like, I guess the issue to me is it's kind of complicated. So it'll take some time to build momentum because people have to learn how to farm it. But I think especially with their timing, like I know they want to go hard. Essentially, once Blast fires off its first airdrop, Fractal wants to be there to kind of catch a lot of the float that starts to leave the network. So I think timing wise, they're really on point. I mean, even like you just explained it, and I still don't 100% know what Flocks is. I'm sure I'll learn.
Like the details. Yeah, it's a bit hard because like I can't really explain it as well as Sam, obviously, in terms of like filtering out just like wash trading and like sort of Sybil activity, and how they're kind of guarding against that. But obviously, they've thought about things like that. So
yeah, I've been
gotta just kind of trust in the algorithm.
I've been knees deep in Berachain proof of liquidity. So my brain can only house one confusing mechanic at a time. But I've been getting pretty bullish on what they're building over there. It's kind of insane, but same deal. It's like there's a big learning curve, especially for developers, which I think is like good for us because we're pretty smart. But I wonder how it'll kind of shake out as these ecosystems develop. Because even I'm talking to people that have been building on there for like a year, and they still don't know exactly how it works. And I think that's just because the specifics haven't been ironed out. So just kind of all these different mechanisms and how to capitalize on them and how to build unique products has been a consistent challenge. But I think that's kind of, again, the glory of the MRP is that, we can kind of tweak things here and there to suit a given market and come away with a really unique product with a very familiar core and user experience.
Yeah, and be there before things pop off, or before everybody starts to understand things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Catch
which
all
is
that
kind of where we
attention.
are exactly right now with Glyph, right? So definitely, guys, go check it out. But I gotta say, to the points you guys are bringing up here about the complexity and the difficulty kind of with using Fraxel at the moment, I came across this in my research. So if you guys haven't explored Fraxel at all yet, haven't been over there, check out Raw, also over there, a friend of ours. But you got to keep in mind, all right, so the best way to get to Fraxel is through the Frax bridge, but you'll need Ethereum. You got to bridge Ethereum over because it'll become Frax Ethereum on Fraxel, and that's the gas token. But
Oh,
do
okay.
not, do not, do not bridge wrapped ETH. If you bridge wrapped ETH, it's still going to be wrapped ETH over on Fraxel, but you won't be able to unwrap it or convert it to Frax ETH. It'll just be stuck there until you bring Frax ETH and bridge it back. Just a little pro tip for you guys.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
Really,
kind of. I
thanks
guess they
for
should just
bringing that up.
make people get into Frax ETH. Although I guess there are some associated risks that people might not want to deal with. But it is interesting how they're integrating so deeply. Obviously, like, a lot of our kind of ideas overlap with theirs. When I met with Sam, it was like we were saying the same stuff to each other, which was kind of funny. But yeah, I think we're just going to uncover a lot of synergy, even at kind of like an intellectual level. I think just with honestly, the stuff we're building is kind of like an even more decentralized Frax, which is kind of fun.
They should just
yeah.
build a faucet.
Yeah,
People who
they
bridge we.
So
they give you
the
infinite ETH.
idea, I believe, Cato Miner, the idea is because the yield on staked Frax ETH is correlated with how much Frax ETH is used. So like okay, I'll see if we can find some more resources for you, Cade. But the two token system that Frax has with their staked Frax ETH and Frax ETH is like people who are staking ETH with them. They're either going to be using staked Frax ETH or they're going to be using Frax ETH. Staked Frax ETH is the only one that gets the yield. So the more people that are in Frax ETH, the higher the yield is going to be for staked Frax ETH holders because all of the ETH that's staked is going towards staked Frax ETH, the yield from all the ETH that's staked. So if they're using Frax ETH as gas, they can take it off the market and just raise the floor for staked Frax ETH yield over time. That's kind of my intuition. I think that's probably why they're using Frax ETH. I mean, it's a bit of a hassle for users, I guess, or it's a bit of a speed bump to get over at the beginning. But I think it's a smart decision. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And every Frax ETH that is bridged, that's more APR for staked Frax ETH, right? Because they're not staked.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Exactly.
very, very, very bullish.
Hey.
We do have an interesting announcement that's going to be coming up here soon. I don't know if we want to include it in the recording, but very relevant to Fraxel, very relevant to Glyph.
Let's, you know what? Let's save it for the end. That way we can keep everyone engaged for this top secret alpha, you know what I mean?
And then yeah, we can
Oh,
just it'll be easier to cut as well. So I'll save
yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
really interesting thing for the end, and it'll apply to a lot of what we're doing as well. So stay tuned. Tell
I'll
your
make
friends. We're gonna
I'll
cut
make
it
a
out of the
note to
recording. So you better pull them
yeah.
in.
Right
So,
on.
Corval, do you want to move forward with the second thing we want to talk about? I'm gonna stop sharing this.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I've got a little diagram for you guys. And I'll before I throw it up on the screen here, I'll give you guys kind of some idea of what this is about. So we've got a new brand debuting soon. I can't give you the name quite yet, but it's going to be the result of this unification of Grain and Oath. We're taking the organization to the next level, and so we're going to be rebranding a little bit under this new entity, right? Now, the difficulty will be communicating and about this new product because Granary will still be around as a product. It's still going to have updates. We're still going to service it, right? Granary is not going away as a product. So kind of this is what we've worked out here. Let me just throw it up on the screen. The name is definitely not grown. That's not sexy at all. And we, for one thing, that cannot be denied about our organization, very sexy. Uh, what's going to happen here is we're at stage 1 right now. All the messaging from the Granary account, or all the messaging about Granary, the product, is coming through the Granary account. Makes sense, right? We've got this new brand, no real messaging coming from it right now. And we have the Oath messaging coming from the Oath account. Now, step 2, this is how we're just gonna shift everything to the right here. Oath messaging going in the trash. It's going away because we don't need to communicate about Oath anymore, right? Can you guys all see this?
Yeah, it's
I can
very
see it. I'm
good.
just
Very
dropping it in the
easy to read.
chat. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Um,
just 'cause.
so yeah, we're moving the Oath messaging. It's going to be deleted. Granary is going to be moving to the Oath account. All updates on the Granary product are going to be coming from the Oath account, and the new brand is going to move into the Granary account. And then immediately these accounts will be rebranded. So it'll all link up right there, right? Simple. Our reasoning for this is Granary has the larger following account. There's already a lot of overlap between the two, but we do want to have the largest platform possible for our new brand. We want to have the largest possible platform for our brand. So we're going to be using the Granary audience for that. So hopefully this makes sense for everybody. Moving on.
I have a question.
That's another thing to take out of the recording.
Yeah.
What if
Leave
we instead of keeping the Granary messaging, if we do that with the new brand, we could make the Oath account into a Conclave account. Have you thought about that?
Yes, we should do that.
And then we can communicate all of the tech from the new brand account.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of liking the sound of that.
Ha ha ha.
I wonder what people think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll talk to them toward the end about conclave related stuff.
Yeah. So let's continue on this theme of communication, though, because we do have an
Yes, sir.
additional layer of communication, which we are participating in right now, the Discord. Let me switch screens here. Now, this one is even simpler. Basically, with the Discord, we are going to be blocking off new users. We're going to delete all the invites, the currently active permit invites for the Discord. And we're going to be funneling people to the new brand's Discord on reveal. And when that happens, we're going to be encouraging everyone in here to shift over to the new brand, maybe even before we announce it publicly live on our platforms. And that way we can kind of archive this this Discord because we have some plans going forward involving streamlining communications in the Discord, and it'll be a fun, great time, guys. So be prepared for this. Messaging is going to be changing a little bit, and we kind of would love for you guys to kind of help us out if you notice any confusion, if these topics come up, you see them on Twitter or you see them on the Discord or the Greenery Discord. So there you goes, guys. That's my little marketing presentation, and yeah, I turn it over to you fellas, Charles, Beebus, UV.
Yeah. Thanks for that. So yeah, in terms of the Discord stuff, definitely pretty easy. And just to reiterate, housing everything under one Discord is going to be a lot easier to manage and a lot cleaner for new people coming in. And it's just like, it conveys sort of the structure of the new brand and the MRPs sort of branching out of it, the chapters branching out of it, a lot better. And it's just an easier system for people to get a handle on without having to join 10 different Discords. And there'll be lots of time to sort of move over to the new Discord. I don't see any reason why we need to close this Discord immediately, or the Grain Discord or anything. We could leave them open and allow people to kind of shuffle in. So the Discord stuff is pretty straightforward. I'm really excited to sort of get that underway because I'm in a lot of Discords, and being in less Discords is a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, the Twitter stuff. Do you want to just kind of reiterate what you were saying before, Justin? Or I guess maybe we can start a small conclave discussion now.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess to give the people in the audience a little bit of context with regards to how our organization has, evolved from Byte Masons, which, was kind of like a ragtag crew to, what is now, I'm pretty sure the biggest DeFi firm in the space called Conclave. And we're in the process right now, and we've been doing business as Conclave for a couple of years. We're in the process at the moment of trying to migrate the Byte Masons brand to Conclave, just so we don't have like our B2B brand being Conclave and our customer-facing brand being Byte Masons. For example, we created Conclave so that we could service an engineering contract for Radiant Capital in late 2022, so that we could build their V2 platform. And since then, a big focus of ours has been diversifying what we work on as an organization, so that we can just consistently service everybody. And to give you guys an example of why this has been important is you look at Oath and Grain, for example, which I think in terms of performance in the secondary market and adoption aren't that great. And typically a team would just kind of close up shop and try something new, but being so diversified and operating across so many verticals just gives us the power to never have to give up. And I think we're going to see that this sort of resilience is going to pay off huge with the launch of our new brand. And I guess taking this a bit further, one of the reasons we're being a little bit more public facing with this Conclave brand is we are kind of doing more consulting than we have in the past, being basically like, hey, we're really good at our jobs being designing incentives, doing the math, engineering, managing DevSecOps, managing security, etc. And obviously, again, like to the average user or the average person on the outside, you look at Oath, you look at Grain, you're like, what the hell are these things? But in the background, I've always said we're always cooking on the BD end, and yeah, I mean, I guess just expect to hear about Conclave more. And when I say Conclave, it's what a lot of us already think of as Byte Masons. It's just it's what a lot of the organizations across the industry that we met in the past year and a half know us as. So yeah, it should be honestly a lot of fun. And what we're working on with this new brand is going to implement Moon very, very heavily. It's going to be like a totally unique experience. And I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again. This isn't, hey, we're taking Oath and Grain, we're going to lump them together and just redeploy and try to paint a new chart or whatever the hell. This is us really kind of taking the technical debt and the brand debt that honestly is a lot of work to service via Oath and Grain, and being like, hey, we're going to chop off the decayed limb, and we're going to just leap far ahead and try to actualize our long-term vision. And by not having to go through the iterative like brand repair process and reviving of Oath and Grain and being able to start a little bit from scratch, we're just going to we'll probably be accelerating our roadmap by like a year, really with the goal of making DeFi as accessible, as viable, and as powerful as humanly possible. And yeah, really excited to have everybody here along with us. I know it's not an easy time being an Oath or a Grain holder, but we dream of the time you can all do victory laps around your friends in the group chats or whatever. And we're working on it. We're developing a lot of cool mechanisms, a lot of cool tech, and we're excited to share it with you. Crypto North is setting the timelines right now. We're going to hopefully not accidentally say the names and spill the beans before the fact. So
Yeah, we would never do that. Could I hop in here though, because we've talked about this a lot internally, and I think one of the most interesting, or kind of like my view of kind of like this unification, right, is I see it as kind of like we have these. We started off, like you said, kind of like ragtag, like we were like a startup. We started off in a very like a cottage industry type way, where we were approaching this new technology and working with it. And now that we've accumulated a lot of experience, we're kind of ready to take everything to the next level, and what that means is kind of more sophisticated, like more sophisticated production process that's streamlined. It's easier to deploy things. It's easier to maintain things and kind of keep everything at a high level of quality. If you think we're moving from, us being like assembling each part of the machine by hand, now we're building like the factory. So I hope everyone's as excited as we are, because there's a lot of internal excitement, and it's awesome that you guys have been able to be with us on this journey from the beginning. And it's kind of scary, because Oath and Grain going away, but what's coming, I think, is really, the natural evolution of it.
It's pretty baller, I would say.
It's gonna be,
It is pretty
it's gonna be
baller.
sick, dude. We're moving to the big leagues, baby.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
be.
factory analogy. It's a good one.
Yeah, we are just like we have all these capabilities, and we're tied a little bit right now to the iteration of Oath and Grain, and for probably 6 months now, though maybe a little bit less, energy has been focused on this new effort, really with the purpose of skipping past the pain of reviving Oath and Grain, and starting from a point where we can just kind of show off our tech and show off what we're doing and how we're doing it, in a more amenable kind of market, as well as with a way more focused brand direction. And I think we want people to hear about our new brand and within 5 seconds understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And within 10 seconds know how to get involved and know how it'll benefit them. And that's something I think we've historically been sorely lacking with Oath and Grain, simply because we have so much technology that we're trying to house within a single brand or a single entity. And now we've finally gotten to a point where, for example, we used to have like 4 or 5 different teams working in parallel on all these different products, and now the products are about done, and everybody that was kind of disparate has now converged on a single point and with a single mission. And that is really DeFi mass adoption. And I truly believe right now, technologically speaking, we're ahead of anybody in the industry. I would go so far as to say, you look at Aave, you look at Euler, even maybe Yearn. I mean, I respect them so much on the yield ag end. Maybe we're not quite there, but you look at lending markets, you look at a lot of yield products, and if we're not right up there with the best of the best, then we've moved past them. And I think where we need to catch up majorly is on the marketing end. Business development, obviously we're getting better, but capital formation is still something we're working really hard on, figuring out how to get TVL in the door, figuring out how to structure these deals. And yeah, overall, I think I don't want to say it's easier necessarily, but it's less mission critical, being there's less value at risk to accelerate on the marketing side and accelerate on the image and brand side. Like, we can run at 100 miles per hour without people getting scared of losing their money. And then on the tech side, it's like we've done the hard stuff. So now, to me, I see a world where, obviously we've been through max pain this last year and a half, but I think it'll honestly be fairly easy to flip that into max pleasure, as fucked up as that sounds. But it is like, if we can kind of frame and package everything we've got going on under the hood, really anybody would be impressed. We've developed such a rich ecosystem of technology. It's just about finally converging into that single point with that single message and that single mission. So that's really what we're excited about. And if you haven't been seeing like our conversations with Celestia, there's like a syndicate that I have a podcast coming out with soon. And I've been in a couple interviews for the Ironclad launch and the launch of Mode. Would definitely recommend checking some of those out, because I try to drop a little bit of alpha every time I'm in a podcast or whatever. So yeah, we've got a lot cooking, and really like top of mind right now is how do we make oath holders and grain holders as happy as possible, and how can we get them posting like the Mogcat to their friends once new token launches. So that's the mindset.
Package, max pleasure, Jesus. Reel it in. Yeah, no, extremely bullish. And I one thing I'm so excited for, to sort of reveal the new brand to everybody, is being able to kind of pass all of the internal excitement to you guys, kind of export all of our excitement and be able to share so much more with all of you soon. Because I mean, it's like, it's my second week as sort of a full-time member, and it's like, even just in those 2 weeks, seeing how much work is being done by everybody, and seeing how many different horizontals and how many different things we're doing as a whole team is pretty insane. And I know, being in like the Oath Discord or the Governor chat or It can seem pretty quiet sometimes, but so I'm just really excited to be able to make it as loud as it is internally. And
I feel
you know,
bad that I'm not talking a lot in Discord anymore because I'm so busy. But it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
the less
yeah,
you hear from us, it's
yeah,
usually
yeah.
because we're grinding really hard.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and the thing that JB mentioned, 10, 15 minutes ago, I think what Helper commented, trying to not be too specific, is like just a little taste of the kind of work that's being done by the entire collective, I guess you could call it. Yeah, cooking. Cooking is what is how we would describe it, I would say. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm just excited. I'm just optimistic about the future. Uh,
Yeah. And yeah, to Jess's point, it is like um it seems like there are maybe like 1,000 guys that are really active in DeFi. And anywhere you go, you run into whatever handful of them are enjoying that given project. So a nice thing about the new token is we kind of take like it's kind of all encompassing. Um, I mean, obviously, like it's all encompassing in terms of its product, but very strict in terms of its scope. So yeah, I don't want to say too much, but honestly, like the whole team is pumped about this. Like we've got the AI engineers excited about it. We've got the data engineers excited about it. The smart contract engineers, the front end engineers. Everybody's like piling in to make this the best DeFi app of all time. So it'll happen, easy peasy. There's nobody else but us to do it, I think. Um, so yeah, it's just consistent effort will pay off.
That's right. We're going to drag DeFi into a new age, kicking and screaming if need be.
That's exactly right.
hey, yo, yeah.
Intense. Left Charles
Yours just
speechless,
sounded like you're
bro.
about 1 centimeter from the mic.
I
You
think
just got this like calm cadence.
I think when Corval gets too heated, his mic turns off.
Yeah.
But you just know what he's saying anyway. It's like so bullish. Yeah, yeah. It is like we'll. I'm really just excited for feedback. I'm almost antsy. Like we're trying to keep everything really close to our chest, but we definitely want to explore it with you guys and get your feedback because obviously that's super valuable.
Yeah, so I guess we're approaching the hour mark. That's pretty much what we wanted to go over. Sorry for, not being able to say anything quite yet, but we're approaching it very, very soon. And we just wanted to communicate how excited we were to share it with you all. And also to check out glyph.fi, the most recent chapter expansion. And I'm looking forward to the expansion of Fraxtal as a chain, because I know it's going to pop off at some point, and we're there very, very early. So super exciting. Yeah. So I guess I should flex my terrible closing out skills. Just say thank you all for coming. And we'll see you in a couple weeks, and I'll see you in the Discords. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. We do need an outro song because this is painful for me every 2 weeks.
Dude, don't
Oh,
worry,
yeah.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I wanted to say, guys, also, if you're in the Discord, let us know if you're going to Consensus, dude. I want to know. I want to know if anyone in here is going to be there. I'd love to run India in the crowd. Well, maybe. I don't know.
That's
Depends
just
on your
scary.
intentions.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be debuting a lot of stuff there. So
I'll
look
be the
forward to
guy.
it.
I'll be the guy in the anonymous mask.
Yeah. Me too, actually, now that I think about it. It's going to be made out of wood too, handcrafted. All right, we need to close this thing out.
All right, yeah.
All right.
See you guys
Bye,
later.
everyone.
See everybody.
Enjoy your
Bye.
weekends.
Charles, close it out. Let's go.
I just did. Can't
Oh,
ask for anything.
wow.
Let's keep closing it out. We can
Yep.
do it.
It's closing out, guys. Everybody get out of here. We're
All right.
closing out.
Here we
We
go.
don't have the
All right.
soundboard, do we?
It's over.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah, bye.